Welcome to Born or Made, the podcast that dives deep into the heart of success and identity. Are the traits that define us as leaders ingrained from birth, or are they carved out throughout our experiences? Join your host, Anne-Marie LaTulip, as we ask these questions to some of the most insightful and inspiring entrepreneurs of our time. Each episode, we explore their journeys, the decisions that shaped them, and how they've molded their own paths to success. So whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned business owner, or simply curious about the interplay between nature and nurture in professional growth, you're in the right place. Get ready for compelling stories, transformative insights, and a new perspective on what it really takes to make it in the world of entrepreneurship.
Hello, and welcome back to the Born or Made podcast. I am your host, Anne-Marie LaTulip, and I'm super excited to have the lovely Toni Caruso with me today. With over 30 years of event production expertise, Toni Caruso has masterfully managed events of all sizes, from intimate gatherings to large-scale productions in the entertainment, corporate, and business-to-business sectors. Leveraging her unparalleled behind-the-scenes experience, Toni now dedicates her career to helping professionals take the stage with confidence, authenticity, and impact. As a sought-after speaking coach, Toni guides experts, thought leaders, and gifted messengers to stand out in the crowded speaking world. Her mission is to help them refine their craft, share their genius, and monetize their message while staying true to their core values. Well, welcome, Toni.
Well, thank you for having me. And don't you just love ChatGPT? It makes you sound really, really good.
I would never have known that was
a word of that.
I love that you're honest about it, right?
Yeah.
I love ChatGPT.
Seriously. Well, yeah, and if you talk to me, you'll go, yeah, she doesn't use those words all the time. So it's all good.
I love it. ChatGPT is like my assistant, so yeah. I am all for it. So yeah. All right, I just told everybody a little bit about you. We kind of get an idea of what you're about. I would love to hand it over to you now, if you could just tell us a little bit more, and maybe a little bit more of how you got to be where you're at now, planning these huge events, kind of what that journey was like.
Well, it's it's a sad story. No, I grew up with a mother who believed that you should be an airline stewardess and marry the pilot, or you should be a secretary and marry your boss. So I went into college and I typed 65 words a minute on those old typewriter, ones. So I was quite the catch when it came to being an executive assistant. But I learned that I really liked doing events. I liked putting the holiday parties together, the conventions, the conferences. So there wasn't anything called a meeting planner or a meeting producer at the time. So I just kind of took over and went, you know what? I would really like to do that full time. And I looked in Adweek at the time in LA, and there was an ad for a meeting planner for City National Bank. And I went, oh my God, there's a job like that? And so I applied and I got it, and I took over, and they did like 7 events a year. Well, when I left, I was 9 months pregnant, and I was doing 400 events a year. So I had built it into this thing, and then I got certified as a meeting planner, and then I became a stay-at-home mom. And that kind of stopped everything. So I became the Uber fundraiser for the school, and the chair of the jogathon, and doing all of that, till my son in middle school said, can you not do things at the school, Mom? You're more popular than me. And so I said, okay. And so I became a certified etiquette trainer because my son's friends had no manners. And then after doing that for about a year, I realized I don't really like other people's children. So I could never have been a teacher. So I joined eWomen Network in Calabasas, California, and the chapter after 2 months died, and they asked me if I'd take it over. And I'm like, oh, I can throw a lunch every month. Well, my network was filled with 8 to 15-year-olds. So I didn't really have a network. So I had to learn how to network and how to meet people and invite them into a luncheon and build this chapter. So I spent 3 years building the chapter. And in the meantime, I realized there were authors, speakers, coaches who needed help in doing their meetings. So I started Caruso Signature Events, and I had my own event company, which then blew up and just went crazy. And I was going to be flying all over the world doing these huge events. And March of 2020 came along, and
Mhm.
I had to make the decision 2 weeks before the whole world shut down. We were doing a 22,000 person event at the LA Convention Center, and people were saying, I can't get out of Africa. I can't get out of Paris. These were my speakers that were flying in. So we had to
Oh,
shut it down before the world shut down. So 2020 took a big hit on me personally, everybody else too,
yeah.
but it killed my business. And I realized after that year of working with my clients and trying to take them virtual and being the reason nothing was working, that they just blamed me, that I thought, you know what, I'm tired of doing other people's events. I only want to do my own. And my husband and I decided to move from California, move to Texas, where eWomen Network is, their corporate office is. And I went in one day to do a video that was part of a program that I had purchased. And they sat me down and said, hey, we've got this speaker network that needs some loving and needs a cheerleader. You have your Academy for Speakers, because I love to teach the business of speaking. As an event planner, I saw what speakers didn't know. And so I had this little Academy for Speakers on the side. And so we brought that under the umbrella of eWomen Network. So now I manage the eWomen Speakers Network. And our goal is to get more women on bigger stages sharing their message. That's a long story, but I,
No,
just kind of want to fill it all in there.
I'm glad that you told it all. So can you explain what the eWomen Network is?
Okay, so the eWomen Network it's been around for 25 years. Sandra Yancey is the founder and CEO, and she started it in 2000 when the internet was just taking off.
Yeah.
And she wanted to meet other entrepreneurs online. It was the little E Women Network and electronic. And then people were saying, hey, are there any other members in Atlanta, Georgia that I could have lunch with? And are there members? And so she went, whoa, maybe I should be doing a luncheon. So she started doing these luncheons in Dallas, Texas, and it has grown into a global business. And we have 150 chapters nationwide with over 30, I think that's like 3,000, I'm sorry, 300,000 members. I don't know. I don't know what the numbers are. It's crazy. But we have chapters, and I run the one here in North Dallas, Plano, and I have about 150 members in my chapter. And
Wow.
so, yeah, so we have these networking luncheons every month, but then she does a large conference every year. And now I also do Speakonomics, where I travel a program where we do a 2-day workshop teaching the business of speakers to speakers around the country. So it's all about 1 million women achieving $1 million in annual revenue, because women millionaires are less than 2% of the millionaires out there.
Really? I did not know that. I mean, I knew
Yeah.
it was less, but I didn't know it was that much less. Wow.
And COVID hit us hard. We even went
Yeah.
down to 1 point something. So it's less than 2%. So her goal is to get women to up level and to build these businesses with the support of other women.
So do you refer each other's, or do people, they refer each other business within the networking groups? Yeah.
So it's either you collaborate with them, you can refer them business, you can there's also an education portion. We bring in great speakers so that you learn things, but it's a community of women who believe in giving first, sharing always, and lifting as you climb. Instead of competition, it's collaboration.
I love it. I really love that so much, because there's enough business for all of us out there, and
Exactly.
us as women, we need to lift each other up. I just love that. I love that so much. So what is it? I'm kind of jumping a little bit,
That's
segueing.
okay. Jump all over the
Yeah,
place.
yeah. You mentioned earlier when you were telling your story that you knew what speakers didn't know.
Right.
Can you tell me, what do speakers don't know?
Well,
Or what don't speakers know? That's the word.
okay. So
Yeah.
I'll just tell you a story, and this is how it all started, my Academy
Okay.
for Speakers. I was producing a large event. We had about 700 people in the room, and we had one brand new speaker who literally purchased time on the stage, 20 minutes. Now, she was sent all the information and told that she would get a handheld microphone and that she'd have 20 minutes. We gave her all the background. But all of a sudden, in the middle of this event, I look over at my audiovisual team, and this woman is sitting with the team. and they're running the event. The event is going on.
Yeah.
So I went over there and I said, "Excuse me, my name's Toni Caruso. I'm producing this event. Is there something I can help you with so that the team can, do
Work.
their job?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, well, no, I'm just, I want to know what kind of microphone I'm going to be using tomorrow and blah, blah." And I said, "Well, let me help you with that. You'll have 20 minutes. It's a handheld mic." "Well, no, I can't have a handheld mic. I need to have a wireless mic because I use my hands a lot." And I go, "Well, our speakers that are less than 30 minutes all get handheld mics. That's just the way it is. We sent you that information." "Well, no, I can't do that." And I go, "Well, let's work on that." So I kind of walked her away. So then it was about lunchtime, and the gentleman that was doing all my recording for the stage was sitting eating lunch. And here's this woman sitting next to him, and she's got paper out and she's talking to him. So I go over there and I go, "Excuse me, can he just sit and eat lunch? He's been working. Can I help you?" "Well, no, I'm telling him what shots I want when I want them." And I'm like, "No, you get the raw footage and you can then edit it and you can zoom it in and you can have your editor do whatever he wants with it. But we do one long shot. We don't, but I want, no, that's not what you get. This is what the package included," trying to explain to her, "We sent you this information that this is what you're going to get. We cannot have him doing different things. This is what he's being paid for." Okay. So then
Oh,
there's a break in the afternoon, and this woman is up on the stage and she's walking around practicing on the stage. And so I went up and I go, "Excuse me, you can't be on the stage. If you need to practice, you have your hotel room, you have the lobby, you can go in the back, but we can't have you on the stage."
oh
You know,
my.
and so that was just like a light bulb went off, that it was like she didn't know what she didn't know. And I don't know if it was my fault. I thought I sent her everything, but did she not read it? So then I just started watching speakers and I went, "You know what? There's a lot of things they could be doing that could be better." For instance, if you are a speaker and you're going to be at a 3-day event, and maybe you're not speaking till the third day, show up on the first day. Get in that audience, be a participant, be part of the group. I love it when a speaker gets up and says, "You know what? At lunch, I was speaking with Anne Marie, and she brought up a really interesting question that I think all of us that need to know the answer to. I mean, it was brilliant. Thank you, Anne Marie, for bringing this up."
Yeah.
And it makes the audience feel like you're one of us. So it's not like you show up 10 minutes before, you put on your microphone, you're in the back doing your jumping jacks, getting your testosterone up, you jump on the
Yeah.
stage, you do your thing, "I'll be in the back of the room for 10 minutes if you have any questions," and then you leave. Well, as an event person, I'm in the back of the room for 3, 4 days, and people are coming up to me asking me questions. I don't have all the answers about your program because
Yeah.
you just sold your program. And so I can't close your deal. And if you don't have somebody there that I can say, "Go talk to Bo's assistant over there, she can help you," because that's where you're closing your business. You're closing it
Yeah.
in the
Right.
bar, you're closing it at lunch. I've closed business in bathrooms. You have to be there and be ready for when they feel comfortable enough to come up to you and ask you a question. So always stay in the beginning and stay through the whole thing, because that's when your business is going to be done.
That's really interesting. And to me, I would have thought that anyway. I would think that would be common sense, but
No, it's
yeah,
not.
so people actually think that they can get to an event and literally show up right before they go on stage. Like, isn't
Right.
there usually? I mean, I've only spoken once, so I'm a total newbie when it comes to the speaking world. I only had 10 minutes, and it was the best experience of one of the best experiences of my life. But we had the night before like a walkthrough kind of the space, and so I wouldn't even imagine just getting there right before. I would want to see what you know what I mean? Like, to me, that just makes sense that I
Well,
would. But
it makes total sense, but that
yeah,
doesn't mean that people have sense. But
but
your
yeah,
bigger speakers, your Les Browns of the world,
yeah,
um,
Myron Golden.
yeah, they're going to show up when they show up, and
Yeah,
they've done it for so long. I get that. There are times that I've met Les Brown in front of the hotel, walked him to his hotel room, gone back and got him, walked him to the backstage. But as soon as, and to be honest, it was the most amazing thing I had ever seen. He was asking me, he goes, "So who's in the audience?" I go, 50-50 men, women. What level of their business? I go, "Well, a lot of them are newbies. Some of them are doing really well, but I believe that money is one of the issues that they have, pricing and asking for what they deserve, and so we're having this conversation. And so he hits the stage, and do you know that he hit every single one of those things that he asked me about in his talk? It was brilliant because he knows what he's doing. He's done it for so long.
Yeah.
And but if you are just starting out, or even if you've only been doing it for, say, less than 10 years, you don't feel, you're not a Brene Brown, you're not a Mel Robbins, you're not that important. Come early and show up. And by God, what's the backdrop look like? Now, I could tell you maybe a week before that the backdrop's going to be black. And so you have this really cool white suit that you're going to wear. But when we get in the room and we start looking, wouldn't it be cool if it had a white background? And so we change it out. Well, then you show up that day in your white suit and you're going to be recorded. Now you're blending in. And so you have to know to bring another outfit. I always say bring another outfit because you never know what the setup's going to be because we don't know till we get there. I produced television commercials and it was this whole black background that we were going to use. We walked into the room and the studio was this white. It was an amazing white. And my client goes, "Oh my God, I love that better. We're going with white." Well, now all the wardrobe has to be changed. The lighting has to be changed. Everything has to be
Yeah.
changed. But, you just don't know until you get in the room. So why not get in the room early? And if you have the ability to get in while they're setting up, so you can walk the stage, so where's your confidence monitor, where's your timer, where's it located, so that you're comfortable, it's going to make your speech so much better.
Yeah. That's also fascinating to me because I mean, I love live events. Are you familiar with Funnel Hacking Live?
Yes,
Oh, yeah. So
they do it. That's a party.
that is, I love it so much.
Yeah.
We just had it in February, and it's just so every time I go to these, big events like that, I'm thinking, God, what a product! Like how, the all that goes into it. There's so much.
Right.
I guess what I'm trying to say is there's so much more that goes into it than what we see from the front. And I just think it's fascinating how they all flow together. Now, what types of events were you hosting or not hosting, producing events similar to Funnel Hacking Live?
Not as big as that. I think my biggest event was about 700-800 people.
Okay.
The 22,000 people in LA at the LA Convention Center, that would have been my biggest.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
and then, I did Women in Technology International. I did their event in San Francisco, and I did another event. I don't want to say the client, but he did huge events. And then COVID changed everything. Right now, to be honest, if you can get 25 to 30 people in a room, that is a brilliant event because we are finding that speakers, if you're selling from the stage or offering programs and services, you close more in a smaller, more intimate setting. The bigger you get, yes, it's great and it looks really fun and everything, but people don't have that intimate feel for you. They don't get that know, like, and trust as fast as they can when it's smaller. So intimate events, like, don't say no to a small event because number one, it's a great practice for you, but
Yeah.
you will tend to close a higher percentage in a smaller room.
That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought that
Yeah.
because you see Russell Brunson and he
Yeah.
do his thing and like people rush the tables at the back of the room, So
Yeah, but we're not all Russell Brunson. That's the
Right.
problem is,
yeah,
when you grow to that size, it's great, but you started out small. You
yeah,
didn't just start with that. So you learned and you practiced and you got better at it, and you now have the experience of closing things. So you're closing a lot better and faster than you would. You know what your closing rate is because I always tell my speakers, no matter where you start, like you've only done it once for 10 minutes, but in
Yeah.
that 10 minutes, is it in a spreadsheet where you said, I spoke to the Rotary for 10 minutes. I offered this. There were 40 people in the room. 10 people took my program. What's the percentage of close? keep track of all of those numbers so that when you do get asked to these larger events and these bigger things, you can look and say, hey, listen, that program closed more than this program. I should offer this one. It's a better sell. It's an easier yes. Or perhaps I'm on the third day and people have been selling to the audience for 2 days now.
Yeah.
They're sold out. The thing is, people always look at their objections are no money, no time, no authority, and no trust. So if they already bought 2 programs, they have no more money left. They don't have the money. No time. I'm already doing 2 programs. How in the earth am I going to be able to add a third one? I don't have the time. Or you know what? I got to go ask my husband
Yeah.
if I have permission, to spend the money. Or they don't trust you. You haven't done enough for them to trust you to buy. So if you're on the third day and everyone's been selling to this group and they're all like oversold, the best thing to do is to walk out there and say, hey, listen, I know that there have been some amazing speakers on this stage, and they have been offering some great opportunities for you to buy. I am going to tell you right now, I have no offer. I'm not going to
Mm.
sell you anything. I am just going to love on you, and I'm going to give you all my best stuff so you can walk away with some action items that you can start using when you leave the room. And then at the very end, you have a free gift and you get all those emails. Because usually, if you're on a bigger stage, you've either paid to be on the stage or you're giving 50% of what you're selling to the host, or you're giving a percentage of it. There's all these different negotiation and deals behind the scenes. So if you are on that stage and you didn't pay a lot of money to be on it, but you can close out of, let's say, 200 people, and you can close 80% of those, what is that? I don't even know. 180, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
You get all those emails, and then they go into your funnel, and you love on them and nurture them, and then you offer a webinar or you offer a small workshop that's virtual.
Yeah.
Then you've got them. Then you're selling them this higher price thing, and you don't have to share that money with anybody. It's all
Nope.
yours.
And and you've already built a relationship with them by that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
It's really, I love that you said that because that makes so much sense to just pour value into somebody rather than, hi, we've just met, buy
Right.
my thing. Right?
Exactly. Or
Yeah.
they do the whole thing, I'm going to do this for you and you're going to get this, but they never ever give it to you because now you have to buy the thing or in order to get it. And
Mhm.
people fall for that. It's a system. And Russell Brunson is one of the kings of doing that. I mean, he's brilliant at it. And so they're really not giving you anything. They're giving you this hype that then you got to buy this $25,000 program down here. And if you're not the kind of person that's at the level to where you can really take what they're selling you and put it into action into your business, you're going to go, oh my God, it's too much. I can't do it. And
Right.
then you're not going to buy anything in the future because you believe that, oh, I've been sold to, and we've all bought it. I bought an $18,000 coaching program
Yeah.
that wasn't right for me. We've all done it. So it's just a matter of knowing when you walk in the room, what is my budget? What am I looking for? What do I really need in my business? So you don't fall for that. So that you
Yeah.
sit there and go, oh my gosh, Toni Caruso just offered 1 year in her elite speakers program. And she has told me that she is going to give me everything I need so that I can negotiate with event planners, that I can get on the stages I want to, and that I can have a great offer that I can make money on. Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I said I wanted. I'm going to buy her program. But, I'm not going to get on there and offer all of this. And you're going to sit there going, well, I've never been a speaker. I'm afraid of speaking. Yeah, she says I should speak. And those are the people I love to get in, the ones that are just starting out because
Yeah.
I love to get them the confidence to go out there and do it. But if you came in there and go, but my problem is time management. And Susie over there is selling a really amazing time management offer. I'm going to go take that one. Don't buy something just because it's shiny. It's
Yeah.
that shiny ball syndrome.
But and they make it sound so exciting. Or
Yeah.
like you said, especially Russell. It's like he gets so passionate about it. You're like, I have to have this,
Well, and then they have
I
these
know.
people that always come on the stage, and I've worked with Russell and I've worked with, so and so. Yeah, Anne Marie and I've been working together for 2 years and I just made $2 million. There's these
Yeah.
great stories, but you don't know all the background and where they started from,
Right.
And did dad die and just, you inherited $2 million? Yeah.
Right. Right. So I
So
want to
I
ask
just
you. Yeah.
be an educated buyer is what I'm trying to say.
I love that. I love that you went there because the question was about what do speakers not know, but now you're also giving advice for when you go to a speaking event. Be careful with your wallet. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
You mentioned just now you were saying what you help with when you work with speakers or aspiring speakers. Earlier you said you help with the business of speaking. So does that mean, I think you just answered my question, but I want to double check. Does that mean that you focus more on making the deal, like the negotiations and
No,
finding the job? Okay, go ahead.
no, I don't believe in speaker bureaus. I think they're great, but I think those are for the speakers who are the Les Browns. And when you have a team that is out there and negotiating for you in your time, and you can ask 25,000 or 35,000 to speak. I believe as an event planner, I don't like a third person dealing with me. I don't want Anne Marie sending me an email. Oh my God, Toni, eWomen Network is amazing. And I have this person, Susie Smith over here, that would be perfect for your chapter to speak to. And by the way, she's local in Dallas. Well, if she's local in Dallas, Susie Smith should come to my luncheon and
Yeah.
check it out and meet me in person.
Yeah.
Susie Smith shouldn't be having somebody else tell me. And I have gotten emails from people from, oh, she's head of the such and such hospital, and she helps people understand how to hire employees and get them the benefits they need. Well, my audience is entrepreneurs. They're not employees.
Yeah.
Like, do your
Completely different.
research.
Yeah.
Know who you're going after.
Yeah.
We had a woman out of Calabasas, where I was the managing director of the Calabasas chapter, and a member there had an assistant reach out to me telling me about how amazing this woman is as a speaker. Well, because she was in eWomen, I wrote her an email back and said, listen, this is not working. This is not going to work for you. And if you're doing this at all the other managing directors, this is not going to sell. They're going to delete this email. If Susie Smith is a member, and especially somebody in good standing, she needs to go to Julie Kuczynski, who is the managing director of that chapter, and say, Julie, I would love to be introduced to Toni Caruso because I would love to go to Dallas and speak at her chapter. And if Julie thinks she's a good person, she then introduces us. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Third-party referral is a better way. Hear from, like, oh, Julie says, Toni, you need to have this person. She's amazing. And she does a lot of business in Dallas. So why don't you have a conversation with her? A lot better than having this random person tell me how amazing you are. And you wrote a book and you talk about this and it's all you.
Yeah.
Think what it's going to do for my audience. I would love to be on your podcast, Anne Marie, because I think your audience could relate to what I've been through, or I believe that your audience needs to know what it's like to get on a stage and speak. I am here to help your audience. What are you doing for the audience?
Yep.
Not how can you promote me and how amazing I am. It's not me.
Yeah.
It's what I can do for you.
That's and that's so fundamental in entrepreneurship, I think, from at least in the circles that I'm with. It's all about, when I have a client, it's how am I helping you? How am I serving you? Right.
Right.
This isn't about me. It's about you. And that's so important in this industry.
We do workshops with my speakers, and I do a lot of speaking. And when I go out, I say, all right, I want you to find somebody you don't know, and in a minute, do your 1 minute. But you can't use the word I. You can say we or our company, but you can't use I. So I do this and I do that and I do that. So then we do that. And then I go, okay, now find somebody else you don't know. Now do it in 30 seconds, but do it as a fairy tale. Once upon a time, there was, getting them out of their head, thinking in a different way. And then I say, all right, now you have 15 seconds, do it again, and just bottom line it. What's in it for the other person? And so then you do that. And then I have them sit down and say, all right, now tell me what you do in 11 words or less.
Oh,
it's very difficult.
That is difficult.
if I have to spend a minute telling you what I do, then you're not listening. I help authors, speakers, and coaches get over their fear and get over this so that they can get on stages, so that they can blah, 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 blah. And I do this and I do, no,
Yeah.
I help you build your business using stages big and small, and then people go, oh, how do you do that? Tell me more. It's a conversation you're having with another person. Instead of vomiting words out them, have a conversation with them. Have something that go, oh my gosh, tell me how you do that. You can do that for me? Oh my God.
Yeah. That's an interesting. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to think of my 11 words. I love that.
Well, it's like eWomen Network, 1 million women achieving $1 million in annual sales. It's 11 words. It's all you need.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So now, do you help women who, and I ask this from my own experience,
Okay.
do you help women with their confidence level on stage? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of
I
your biggest.
believe that we have to get out of our heads.
Yeah.
It's not about us. So when you're stepping on stage and you go, "Oh, I'm nervous," you have to change that in your mind to say, "I'm excited." It's the exact same feeling. I'm excited. This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Whose life am I going to change today?
Yeah.
Who am I going to help today out there? Who needs me the most? And when you take it out of the me, I'm nervous and oh well, I can't do this, to the I am helping and serving somebody else. There is one person in that audience that needs to hear my story. It changes how you feel and your confidence. And I believe that confidence comes with courage. So it's not like something you're born with. You're not born confident. It's every time you try something that's a little harder or for you to do and you achieve it, that gives you confidence. So get out there and get on stage. And let me tell you, when you fail, God, fail beautifully, and own it. I mean, there are times I have tripped on stage and gone, whoa, shouldn't have worn those shoes today. I mean, and that makes you real.
Real. I was going to say that. Yeah.
Because it's authentic what we want to be. If you're on stage and you're like, hey, I'm here and I'm going to make you $1 million and I am the millionaire maker, and then you go off and you're at lunch and you're kind of low energy and whatever, people don't trust you.
Yeah.
So we have to trust you. So you have to be who you are on stage and off. And it's real important. If you have not had a headshot taken in the last year, go get your headshots taken. Your picture is one of your best promotional items. And if I am promoting, like if you're promoting me and I don't look like the picture that I sent you, and I get on stage and people are going,
Yeah.
like, I've already lied to you. I've given
Yeah.
you a picture of 20 years ago when I was skinny and young and no gray hair, the whole bit. But even
Yeah.
if you have gray hair now, own it. Own who you are.
That's such great advice. And I laugh because before I started this entrepreneurial journey, I was selling real estate, which is still kind of an entrepreneurial thing, but
Oh, totally.
whatever. So anyway, I had a career in real estate for 17 years prior to this path I'm on. And we used to laugh at people because there would be real estate agents that would have their picture from like 1980, right? And then they show up and it's like an old lady. I'm like, dude, you need a new picture. Like, it's so true.
I had a woman come and speak to my chapter in Calabasas years ago, and she had her speaker one sheet, and her whole thing was talking about how to be a speaker. And she's like, you need to have a really great picture of you. And she had her one sheets on the table, and people were looking at her picture, looking at her, looking at her picture, and we're all looking at each other like, oh my Lord, doesn't look a thing like her. And then she got new photos, and I knew her photographer, and her photographer calls me and she's like, Toni, she doesn't like her new photos. And I said, because they look like her. She likes her old picture because it was 20 years ago. Don't we all like the way that we looked 20 years ago? My gosh.
Yeah. And what we can do now, though, with we're spoiled because with AI or retouching or whatever it is that we can make our pictures filters, we can make ourselves look so much better online. You know what I mean?
Right. And please, those filters. I mean, there's a young woman that I know, and every time I see her on Instagram, I'm like, oh my God, that's such a great picture of her. But then I look at her and it's like she's using filters, and she's single and she wants to go out and meet people. It's like, they're going to go to that picture. And then when you show up across the table from them, they're going to go, whoa,
false advertising.
Yeah.
That's so funny. So
it's not a good thing. They're fun to use, but Don't use them.
No, you have to, exactly. You have to, especially, well, in any industry, but especially speaking, I would think that being the most authentic you is the best, right? I mean, because like you, can I share my experience with you? Do you mind?
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Okay, all right. So I have a performance background. I've performed since I was young, in theater and touring at theme parks, whatever. So I'm no stranger to being on stage, but for some reason, leading up to this speaking gig that I had, I was so nervous. The thought of speaking on stage was like the most terrifying thing, even though I've been on stage a million times. I was never on stage as myself.
Right.
My true authentic self, which is why I bring this up.
Right.
Because that was so scary to me, because you can be on stage and act as a character, and nobody, if they don't like you, it's not me, you know what I mean? So that was just really terrifying. But you know what's funny? The minute that I got on stage, I was like, oh my God, I love this. All the fear just went away. I was so comfortable. And so it's just interesting that you talk about, really being yourself, because that was what was most terrifying to me.
Well, yeah. And to be honest, women are hardest on women. I mean, men don't really look at men and go, oh my God, he's too perfect. Like her hair is just like, when you see that woman walk on stage and she's so perfectly put together and her hair is perfect and she's standing straight and her voice is perfect and she's presenting her thing, we are not listening to her anymore, because we are in our minds, and I'm sorry, women, but we need to admit it. We're saying negative things about her in our head, like, oh, she's too perfect. Look at her up there, that miss. So the more real you can be, the more the audience will fall in love with you. If you make a mistake, own it. And people will say to me, because we have a competition, it's in North America's Next Greatest Speaker competition, and they get 3 minutes, and they're like, what if I forget? I go, it doesn't matter. We're not sitting there with a script in front of us.
Yeah.
Oh, she left a word out. You're telling your story. And if you can't tell your story in 3 minutes, something's wrong. And I was just at an event where one of the speakers had a stand. It was like a music stand, and she had a binder. And she was telling her story, talking about growing up with her father, reading it off a piece of paper. If you can't remember how you grew up and what happened to you, you need to follow a script. Something's wrong. Anything that you put in front of you, a podium, please do not stand behind podiums, people. A podium, a stand, anything that's in front of you, even if it's a binder that you have in front of you, it is a wall between you and your audience. And you are telling your audience that you're afraid. It's a fear thing. So be open, get your arms out, be open, be loving, be funny, be real, and just share your story. Because let me tell you, we don't know what you're going to say. We just know that you have something that we're on your side. We want your information. We're not there to tear you down. So just be real.
Oh, that's great advice. That's so awesome. So I'm going to segue now.
Okay.
Yeah. So you said, if you don't know how you grew up, then you're in trouble, right? So I want to talk about you,
Okay.
like little Toni, because the name of the show is Born or Made, right? So the idea, nature versus nurture, are we sort of predisposed to an entrepreneurial mindset as kids, or does it happen based on things that we experience? That's kind of the question, right? So as a little kid, did you find yourself doing things that maybe people thought weren't normal? Like, lemonade stands, selling things door to door, that kind of thing?
So I didn't come from an entrepreneurial background, but my mother was a nightclub singer, and she sang all over Minnesota, and she sang with the USO. So she was an entertainer. So I
Oh.
always wanted to be a singer. I wanted to be Tina Turner. I wanted to be a singer and a dancer. And my mother said I couldn't be a dancer because I wasn't tall enough. I was one of the shortest ones in school. And she believed that a dancer was a radio Rockette.
Yeah.
5'10", long legs. That wasn't me. I'm 5'3", so I'm short. Wear a lot of high heels. Dance classes, and she refused to send me to dance classes because she knew that that wasn't the performance that I would end up like. I'm not going to use it like, oh, why pay for her to be a dancer when I know she's not going to be a dancer. So she made me learn the piano. So to this day, I cannot play the piano because you're putting a dancer sitting at a piano. Now,
Yeah.
my brother played the drums and my sister had the guitar. My sister had the voice. My sister has an amazing voice. So she wanted a family band. It never really worked out. But I would stand in front of the television on my tippy toes to be a ballerina. I wanted attention all the time. So if you look at that as growing up with a mother who didn't graduate high school, married my father, who was in trades. He ended up being one of the first cameramen in television. So he was in the television industry. And so he passed away in a car accident right before my 16th birthday. So I was kind of like, what do I do? And it's like you get married and you have babies was pretty much what I was supposed to do. Well, in order to go to college and get the GI Bill and to get money from my father's Social Security, I had to go right into college. So I went to community college. I was supposed to get married. I blew off my wedding 6 weeks before because I met somebody else. And then he blew me off 2 years later, karma, whatever. So don't need to go into all these stories, but there's a lot in there. But through the whole thing, I took my own dance classes. I minored in dance in college. I love to dance. It's natural for me. I love to be on a dance floor. It brings me joy and happiness. So in reality, I am an entertainer. And now I've taken that love of being in front of people, and now I'm on stages, but they're different stages. I come out dancing, I'm out there and I'm having a good time, and I bring my dancing on the stage for the first 90 seconds, right? So I've become a dancer, and I've become an entertainer, but I am now a speaker. So I never really thought that I was an entrepreneur, and I didn't know that until I became a stay-at-home mom and started doing things on my own. I always worked in corporate, but we're finding that women are succeeding and building their businesses and getting to their goals and their dreams at later ages. They're becoming entrepreneurs in their late 40s, in their 50s, and women are happiest and making the most of their life in their 50s and 60s now.
Yeah, it's so true. It really is.
So, yeah, I've never been happier. I love what I do. I'm making good money. I enjoy it every day. And I can't say that when I worked in the entertainment field or when I worked for corporate America. I didn't, you know?
I love your story. Can I tell you, like, it parallels mine so much. It's almost scary, how similar. So first of all, when's your birthday?
July 30th.
You're a Leo. Me too. I knew it. I'm August 8th.
Oh yeah, full Leo. I love my Leos.
Yeah, I knew it anyway. Okay, so same with me, right? So my story about dancing is that when I was little, I was in dancing. And then as I got older, I started taking baton, because back then baton was
huge.
all the rage, right? Everybody was in baton.
Yeah.
So I was doing both dance and baton. And my mom, I'll never forget, and if she's listening to this, she knows this was like, my one decision I regret as a little kid. My mom was like, you have to pick one, dance or baton. And I picked baton like a dum-dum. Like, what am I going to do with a baton, right? So I still had a career dancing, but I was never really like a trained dancer to really make a living out of it.
Right.
You know, I did a lot of like shows, like musical theater and things like that. But the singing, here's what's funny, and where I really just connected with you. You were talking about dancing, but for me, I'm going to talk about singing. I loved to sing. And I always wished that I had the most beautiful voice. My voice isn't, I can fake it. Okay. I'm a character actress. So if my singing isn't great, it's fine sometimes, but I was never really a great singer. Right. And so this is what my talk was about at that gig, at the speaking thing, was about how I use my voice now in a different way, which is exactly kind of what you were saying.
Right.
Yeah, I wasn't meant to be a singer. but I can speak and I can still be on stage. I can still be a performer. It's just not singing. And that was like such an aha moment for me because I was chasing this thing, this singing that I was never going to reach. And so I love your story because it feels so similar.
Well, and my mother would say, I'd be singing, and the whole family'd be singing, and my mother would turn to me and go, "Stick to dancing."
Oh
I
no.
mean, it was like, yeah, I can't sing worth. I do a
Yeah.
great happy birthday. I worked for TGI Fridays, and it was in LA. So you had all these actors that worked there with great voices. And so someone would have a birthday, and they go, "Okay, Toni," and I can sing happy birthday in one tone. I can't
Monotone.
harmonize that thing. I can do it my key as long as, so they'd always say, "Toni, start." And I would sing my happy birthday. And they're doing all this harmonizing and all this great stuff. And we sounded beautifully. But I couldn't do anything other than my happy birthday in the key that I do it in. Like if we start on a different key, yeah, I'm lost.
Oh, that's funny.
Don't have the voice at all. But it's funny because my sister, who has the voice, never had the inkling that she wanted to be on stage. She had a family band. It was kind of like the Mamas and the Papas, kind of,
Yeah.
during the 60s. And they got a contract offer for a Christian record company, and she turned it down.
What?
And I'm like,
Really?
"Oh my God, what are you
Like, I
doing?"
know. Like, what?
The people that have the gifts aren't using them. But I would have died for that. I would have died to be on stage. I just wanted to
Mhm.
be, we're Leos. We want to be the center of attention. It's just in our blood.
It is. It's so it is so true. Like being in the spotlight, it's just like, oh, I crave it, you know? Oh my God, I love that so much. And by the way, I have you beat. I'm only 5 feet.
Oh, there you go.
So I have you
See?
beat.
Yeah, but
You're
your mother
taller
let
than
you
me.
take dance lessons at 5 feet. My mother was like, "Yeah, no, we're not spending the
Yeah.
money."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? It worked out for me pretty well at Disney. So
Oh, perfect.
yeah. Yeah. I love that. So, oh my goodness. Unfortunately, we're coming to the end here. God, that flew by. But I'd
I
love
know
to
that was
know,
fun.
yeah, anything new and exciting on the horizon for you? Anything that you want to tell people about or share?
Um, I do Speakonomics, which is a 2-day workshop, and we
Okay.
travel that all over. So I'm going to Calgary in June to do it in Calgary, Canada. And then we are flying and doing it in October in the Twin Cities in Minnesota, and then at the end of the month in San Diego. And then in 2026, we're hitting a lot of other cities. So I love that. It's my friend Larry Roberts, who is Red Hat Media and big in he's part of Podfest. He's big in the podcast world. He travels with me, and we put on these 2-day events, and we teach the business of speaking and how you make money and how to get on stages or have your own stages. So
Yeah.
that's kind of fun. Otherwise, I've been doing some really fun 1-day business intensive, collaborating with some other people in my chapter, and we're like going to start traveling those as well. So
Oh, I love it.
I love a good workshop. I'm all about, if you don't walk away with things that you can put into your business when you walk out the door, then the event has not been a success. And so that's the one thing that I try to teach my speakers is, as someone in the back of the room after so many years, I hear the audience when they leave. And when the audience is saying, "Oh my gosh, do you believe what she gave us? That was amazing. I can't wait to do that." Or they'd stop by, "Oh, she was amazing. You need to have her back next year," or whatever. We hear all those comments. So
Yeah.
that's how we decide whether or not we want you to come back. So
Yeah.
just make sure your audience is really happy when they leave.
Yeah. That's great advice. And it seems like you really focus more on the in-person
Yes.
gatherings than online. Is there a reason
Yeah.
for that?
Well, I personally am not a big fan of virtual
Okay.
events, because I believe that when people are at virtual events, they're all like this on their computer looking the other way, or they're not on camera, they're not listening. The
Yeah.
impact is different.
Yeah.
And people, we're finding that people want to be in the room and live again. So it's important for you to get in the room and, hug each other. And I'm not a hugger. So, but I mean, getting in the room and getting to know people on a more personal level. And
Yeah.
I think more business is being done live than it is virtual.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, we were kept from each other for so long that now it's time to
Right.
really, just start getting out there and get in the room. That's one of my favorite sayings, by the way. Just be in the room, get in the room.
Right.
You know? Awesome. And do you have a free gift for my audience, correct?
I don't.
There's one in the notes here. Let me tell you.
Okay, then I did. All right. So then I did send it to you. I apologize.
No,
I think
that's
it's
okay.
the 7 insights of why you should be a speaker. I think that's the gift that I
Yeah.
gave.
Yeah.
Me, I'm just here to give. So, sorry, that was not a really good thing for a speaker to say. So see,
okay.
I owned it. I'm
You're real.
failed and I
Yeah.
owned it. See how that is? It makes me more real.
Yeah.
If you can put that in the notes, that would be great. If you could
Yep.
just add that, that would be great. But if anybody wants to talk to me or if they want to get to know me, it's Toni@tonicaruso.com. Really simple. Send me an email. Say you listen to the podcast and you have a question. I would love to answer it. Or follow me on Instagram at Toni Caruso Events.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'm going to put all of that information in the show notes. So if anybody wants to connect with Toni, definitely take advantage of it because this has been incredibly fun to talk to you. So at the end of every episode, I don't know if you've seen any of my other episodes, I always just ask a few random questions.
I love that.
Yeah. Okay. So you ready? Number 1, do you believe in Bigfoot?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know why, but it hasn't been proven that he doesn't exist. So
Isn't that funny? Because more people say yes than no, which is so interesting to me because it's a big debate here in my house because I don't believe, I believe that if he existed, kind of opposite of what you said, if he existed, we would have concrete proof by now. And my boyfriend's like, nope, he's real, he's interdimensional, he's
gone really into it.
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah.
I just, if I meet him one day, I don't want him to say, hey, you didn't believe in me. So,
That's a great way to put it. Okay. Second question. If you had the opportunity to go to space and walk on the moon, would you take it?
No.
Yeah, me either. Why?
I'm kind of claustrophobic and I don't even like planes. So put me in that little capsule. No, don't want to.
I know. That's what I say. I'll stay right here on the ground. Okay, last question. If you could have dinner with any one person, alive or dead, who would it be?
My father.
Oh, I love that answer.
Yeah.
I love that answer.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, those are my questions.
Well, I love it. And this has been really fun and really great. And I so appreciate you asking me.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Everybody, thanks for tuning in to the Born or Made podcast. And we will see you next time.